It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles.
Welcome in. It's Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio. Happy to be with you the first Saturday of December, the final full Saturday of the college football season, not including bowl season. I'm Jeff Parles, Alex White alongside. Happy to be with you as always. We're going to see both Chris Andrews and Vinny Magliulo at different times today. Given the behind the book perspective in this conference championship Saturday in college football. And Alex will begin. First off, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you as always. Start off with last night, just due north of here at Allegiant Stadium, the first of the Allegiant Stadium double. What a game that was. Washington is a 10-point underdog, gets it done outright. 34-31. They had a 20-3 lead in this game. Oregon came all the way back, took the lead into the fourth quarter, and then 14 unanswered to begin the fourth for Washington. Gets it done 34-31. Game goes under by a half a point. But Alex, we'll have Chris in a little bit later to basically just how he adjusted after this win for Washington. The Huskies are going to the college football playoff. They're 13-0, undeniable at this point, and for Michael Penix Jr. and company, a team that everyone just doubted. Okay, they beat Oregon. All right, do it again. 10-point underdogs. You didn't look good the last 6 games after beating Oregon in the middle of October in Seattle. And all Washington did last night, they were the right side the whole way. I know Oregon took the lead going into the fourth quarter, but the Huskies were the better team for the majority of that game. And in the end, if you take out that big giant touchdown at the end from Oregon, Washington now gains them yards per play. And when Washington needed to have it last night, that big drive in the fourth quarter to go up by 10, the 2 big conversions on the last drive of the game to not even give Oregon the ball back. The Huskies got it done, and they're going to go to the Rose Bowl one way or another, whether they are the 3, the 2, or we get real carnage today, the number 1 overall seed in the college football playoff.
Hey, congrats to Washington. They were definitely the better team in that game. And, we talked about it all week. Throw out the numbers, throw out how they've looked the last 5 weeks. These teams play each other really hard, and they're both really good teams. And you're right, everybody kind of counted Washington out and just already had Oregon in the playoffs looking at different matchups. And they had to get by the Huskies first, and they couldn't do that. So, yeah, congrats to them. I will say I'm glad I made that future bet because I don't think I would have taken the points with Washington here. And because I wanted to middle and have both sides there, I ended up coming out a little bit, not as much as my future bet with Oregon. But that's what sports betting's all about, right? Putting yourself in a good position. And I'm really impressed with how they looked yesterday. I'm excited to see what we get from them in their playoff game.
It'll be interesting to see how Chris has moved with Washington. Of course, more likely than not, if we get chalked today, and it's not a more likely than not if we do get chalked. Georgia's going to go to the Sugar Bowl, probably against Florida State, and Washington is going to go to the Rose Bowl. You'd imagine Washington will just stay put at number 3, take on Michigan. Of course, Michigan we talked about yesterday, gigantic favorite against the Hawkeyes later today. It's going to be hard for this Husky team that, again, on a long win streak, Alex, dating back to last year. The last time the Washington Huskies, I just need to make sure I get my date right on this. The last time the Washington Huskies lost a college football game was November 12th of last year. That's 2022. And that was I actually even misread my own notes there. Make it October 8th. Of last year. My mistake. October 8th of 2022. They lost at Arizona State by a touchdown. That was the last time they lost a college football game. And here we are, a team that's on this big winning streak, dating back to last year, winning a lot of tight games. It'll be fascinating to see, assuming it is them in Michigan in the Rose Bowl. Perfect last year at the Pac-12. We get a Big Ten Pac-12 matchup in Pasadena, the way it deserves to go out. It'll be fascinating to see how that game is bet, assuming that is the matchup. And again, I know what happens when you assume. No need to say it on the air. But if Michigan goes down to Iowa today, boy, something's gone wrong. But Alabama could beat Georgia, and that would push Michigan up to the 1 seed, and Washington would probably play either Texas, Alabama, or Florida State in the Rose Bowl in that scenario.
Well, if it does work out like that, what a matchup between Michigan and Washington we'll have for the Rose Bowl. You got to give it to Michael Penix Jr. He looked really good last night, and a lot of people were concerned that he was injured and wasn't the same the last few weeks. I think he did very well. You were actually there, so you can attest to that more than me. But I'm excited for the rest of the day. We'll see what happens and see if Georgia stays at that number 1 spot and what unfolds tomorrow.
Well, Georgia wins, they're staying there. It's just a matter of getting it done in the SEC title game. If Alabama wins, Texas wins, and Florida State wins, that's the scenario where I'm very curious to see what the committee does. I still think you leave Alabama out. I don't think that's what's going to end up happening in that scenario. I think they would probably just exclude that Texas win over Alabama in Tuscaloosa earlier in the year. Bama would hop Texas and Florida State, and Georgia would pop out. That would be my guess of what would happen. I don't think that's right, but we'll see how it goes throughout the day. All right, let's get into it. Oh, also, actually, real quick here, the other game yesterday, Liberty gets it done. They're 13-0. If Tulane loses today, again, if Tulane loses to SMU, I wouldn't be shocked that the committee pushes SMU up. But based off the current college football playoff ratings, Liberty would more likely to not go to a New Year's Six Bowl at 13-0. Liberty covered. Game went way over yesterday. Pavia got hurt early in that game, and that's part of the reason in the end, even though it was a tie game going to the fourth, there's not enough offense in that fourth quarter for the Aggies in order to stay in that one.
And you mentioned going over the total. Not a lot of defense at all in that game.
712 yards for Liberty yesterday.
Yes, both of them looked good offensively. It was a shootout between those two. Salter's a very good quarterback for Liberty, so I am excited to see where they end up in their bowl game.
Oh, man, 712 yards.
Hey,
10 yards a play yesterday for Liberty. New Mexico State averaged 8 yards a play and with the weaker side on offense yesterday.
And that true freshman came in for Diego Pavia, and he did good. I mean, the first drive, he got him there, tied it up again, but then he made 2 plays that were just costly to them, interception in the end zone. So, yeah, they didn't cover that 11.5, but it was a really good game in the Conference USA Championship.
Blaze Bellerlitz
was
the one who came in relief of Pavia yesterday. But Liberty, again, real shot of going to a New Year's Six, which would probably be a berth in Atlanta in the Peach Bowl. Well, they're showing them right now on College Game Day. Let's go there first. Big 12 title game, the first one up today on this championship Saturday, Alex. Oklahoma State, Texas, the matchup, the battle of different shades of orange in this one. The final time in the Big 12 for the Texas Longhorns. Of course, going to the Southeastern Conference next year. Alex, I brought this up with Chris yesterday, and I want to bring it up here yet again. CFBstats.com has this one, and it's Bill Rajajowski on Twitter, collegefootballdata.com. Based off post-game win expectancy from collegefootballdata.com. Oklahoma State was the luckiest team in college football this year, and it wasn't particularly close. Oklahoma State was 9-3. You go up based off the post-game win expectancy in all their games. And remember, as Chris pointed out, none of these are actually like zero. You have all sorts of fun mixed in there throughout this. Their expected win total is 4.8. So they exceeded it by 4.2 wins. The next closest was Fresno, who was 2.8 above their expected win expectancy. Now, granted, number 3 on this list was Washington, who, of course, 13-0, Pac-12 champs. Number 5 on this list is Florida State, who's going for a playoff berth later today. So this is obviously not all set in stone, but I think the difference between Washington, Florida State before the Travis injury, those were legitimate top 10 teams to begin with. This Oklahoma State team got blasted by South Alabama. They lost by 42. They took the worst loss in the last 40 years by a ranked team against an unranked team. That 42-point drubbing they took at the hands of Central Florida a few weeks back. Alex is a big number. 15 behind us on Texas, 57 a total. I know I missed the best of it, and it's hard to chase numbers, but I just don't see, unless if Texas really does some weird stuff today, how this game stays close in Arlington.
See, and I'm a little bit on the other side just because of my numbers. I have Texas as an 11-point favorite, but I agree with you with the whole style points and Texas coming out here. So I do like the over in this game, and I know it's already bumped up. I got over 54.5. 57's a little high. I think there's still some 56s out there, but I don't think the Cowboys are getting shut out, right? Gundy loves this spot, being the underdog. They do have the best running back in the country with Gordon. He leads in every category, including yards. He has the second most rushing touchdowns at 20. So I think they are going to score. I don't think Texas won't shut them out, but like you're saying, them still playing for a chance to be in the playoffs, they could run up the score late here. Not touching the side. Don't know what to do with that.
Just eyeballing, like, there'll be a little more prop talk today on these things, on these games. Ollie Gordon, who had just, by every account, an amazing year for Oklahoma State. The best running back in the Big 12 this year. Again, basically the best non-Barry Sanders Oklahoma State running back year. Again, Barry was in the class of his own with how great he was in Stillwater and then in the NFL in Detroit. I expect there to be a lot more like checkdowns today. So it was 18.5 or 19.5. I think it was mostly 18.5. There was 19.5 receiving yards for Ollie Gordon. I think that's pretty good to the over, because when you're trailing, you got to get your best player the ball, and he can't be traditional handoffs. So I do like that. The only problem is Gordon, even in games they've trailed in, they've been a little stubborn, but I think today in a game where I think Texas is going to get out quick. I think they're going to get out quick. This game's going to be a 2-score game pretty quickly. You're going to have to find a way back into it, and it's going to be with checking down Ollie Gordon. I did actually take a little piece of that, Alex.
I like it a lot. I totally agree with you. If they are playing from behind, they're going to have to get their best player the ball.
Let's go to the MAC championship next. Miami of Ohio and Toledo. This is also at the top of the hour. Rockets beat the Red Hawks in Miami by 4 earlier in the year, 21-17. Yesterday when Chris was on the show, said that these power ratings came way shorter on this, with Toledo right now 7, 43.5 the total. I stayed out. I think the touchdown, at least to me, feels right. There's been a toggler here at the South Point between 7.5 and 7 all week. Total down 3 points, 46.5 to 43.5, Alex.
Very interesting. 3 of our games, both yesterday, were rematches, right? And both teams found a way to beat the team twice in the season. Another rematch here between these two. You already mentioned it. Toledo won the first one, 21-17. I like the dog here. I took the 7.5 with Miami, Ohio. I also lean to the under. Low scoring game, really good defenses from both these teams. Miami's defense has looked great, especially their secondary. I talked about this yesterday. Toledo relies on their quarterback and their passing game a lot, and that's where Miami's going to be able to hang in this one.
Again, this is a matchup where before the year I thought Toledo was the best team in this conference. I still think that if Ohio U stayed healthy, that they probably would have been in this game instead of Miami of Ohio. And it's not to discredit what the Red Hawks did this year. They were a really good football team. They did what they needed to do. Their only losses this year were to the Canes in the Battle of the Miamis in week 1 and the game against Toledo, who to me has been the best team in this conference all year long. Their only loss for the Rockets came in a flip in Champaign, Illinois against the Illini in week 1, a game that, quite frankly, they should have won in week 1 on the road against the Big Ten team. So I'm staying out. This could be a good in-game game. Now, granted, we always get some weird stuff in these MAC championship games, either just absurdly low-scoring, turnover-laden games. We're going to stay out of this, though, today. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Chris Andrews is here. Did he adjust his numbers on Washington? I'm going to say probably yes. We'll discuss it next with Chris Andrews. You're on Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Welcome back in. Sports by the Book is the show. I'm Jeff Parles. Alex White is here as well, and now joining us. Oh, by the way, I totally didn't mention it. Alex is in Rebel Red today.
It is a red out.
A red out over at Allegiant Stadium. And with us right now, the Montana
I'm wearing my
Grizz.
Montana shirt.
Grizz in action tonight in the FCS
Grizz
playoffs?
and Montana State, both. Yeah.
FCS tournament already started. You didn't have futures on that book.
No, we didn't. We got all the games on the board today.
There were some books in town. South Dakota State's like a minus 190 favorite to win the whole thing.
Yeah,
which
I don't know. Yeah,
which is again them and North Dakota State kind of flip roles about 2-3 years ago.
North Dakota State, the dog today.
Yeah, North Dakota State is on the road at the Bobcats, as you mentioned.
And Montana is playing. Who are they playing? North Dakota, I think.
Yeah, that sounds
Like
right.
they're pretty big favorite, about 17. Something.
Montana, they're playing Delaware.
Oh, okay.
The Blue Hens. The Blue Hens.
Yeah, I have a Blue Hen shirt too, by the way. I've been on that campus too.
Yeah, well, I have as well. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, me too.
You take the obligatory visits to a lot of those state schools if you're on the I-95 corridor, and UDEL was on the route.
Okay, it was okay.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Nothing wrong with it. All right, Chris. Since Twitter decided to yell at you last night,
Lord. All week.
Well, they was a little more playful during the week. Now, is people deciding to get angry. Oh, you were wrong. Okay, well, come and make the bet. You should have bet it, and you said that was a pretty good result last night.
I had a huge day. What can I tell you? I mean, we were down as low as 9. We opened 10. We went as low as 9, back to 10. And once I went to 10, which we were on the show when I went back to 10, they laid me to 10. So I wound up with a really good day yesterday. So just guys, listen, I know when you're in my position, they're going to take pot shots at you. It's just part of the game, and I understand that. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. But anyway, guys are asking me, you're going to adjust Washington? Well, yeah. Did you watch the game? They look great. I mean, they had been, and I always say momentum. You could bet momentum in college football and do pretty good. But at some point, the worm turns. Mm-hmm. And the worm turned yesterday for Washington. First of all, the coach, DeBoer, he's
awesome.
Had nothing but success. All the way from what NAIA school he was at, like Sioux Falls or something like that?
I'll double check it, but he is a Sioux Falls graduate.
He's a Sioux Falls graduate, right.
Yes.
And I think he coached there too. He wound up going to Fresno for a while, but he's had nothing but success. And, the team did not play well. I mean, listen, we have eyes. We could see ever since the Oregon game, they went downhill. But yesterday they turned around. Jeff, what really impressed me was they controlled the line of scrimmage.
Oh, yeah.
Because I thought Oregon would control the line of scrimmage. They did not. So, yeah, I'm going to adjust Washington. I haven't had time to go through the box scores and everything, but probably 2 points. Maybe more. We'll see. But I'm going to definitely have to take a look. But a minimum of 2 points will be my adjustment.
Okay, Kalen DeBoer was 67-3 at Sioux Falls.
How did he lose the 3?
Well, he lost 2 in his first year.
Oh, okay.
And the other one he lost in the NAIA championship game.
Yeah, and that's,
So there you go.
And look at Lance Leipold. Well, he wasn't NAIA, but he was at Wisconsin Whitewater.
Yep.
Made a name for himself there. Wound up going to Buffalo, that other college football powerhouse, and turned them around pretty good. Now he's at Kansas and doing a great job. So some of these coaches that come from these smaller outfits, can actually coach. You just need the opportunity. And DeBoer, he looks to be a great coach, as does Leipold.
I don't know if you saw this earlier in the week, but Penn State hired Andy Kolonicki, Leipold's longtime offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I'm very happy about that.
Pretty good hire by Penn State.
I'm very happy about that. They needed a change on offense, and I think he can do nothing but help.
So you mentioned it, Chris, with the adjustments. And again, you won't have the exact full adjustment until after all these games are completed and you go through everything. But the expectation, you would say, probably based off of that, is probably about 2 points max, probably, right?
Well, I'd say 2 points minimum. 2 points minimum.
Because
if I go back to where they were, because remember, Jeff, I told you I liked Washington in that game against Oregon. I thought Washington was a better team. Since then, they took 2 divergent directions until yesterday.
Right.
So how far do I adjust? Do I put them back to where they were 6 weeks ago? Or do I just throw in a couple extra points because they looked good yesterday? I don't know. I have to look through the boxes and I'll make a decision.
All I will say is, and we'll discuss this once the matchups are set, Alex, but if we do get Michigan and Washington in Pasadena for one last time of a Big Ten against the Pac-12, which, by the way, great conference game, by the way, next year in Michigan.
Interconference game,
right? It's a conference game, which by the way, there is a legitimate scenario where Florida State loses today, Texas, Georgia, and Michigan all win, that Georgia-Texas SEC game next year, Michigan-Washington Big Ten game next year.
What are you doing on my brain, Jeff?
I mean, what are we doing here? Which also makes Sankey basically arguing for two teams from his own conference, arguing against Texas, who's going to be in his conference next year, just turning yourself into a pretzel. But that would to me, if we get, especially if Michigan looks okay today, and they're huge favorites. So.
But Iowa has a way of making you look okay.
Oh, sure.
Even though they don't have any chance of winning the game, they could still make you look mediocre.
Look, Michigan can win this game. And it could be completely non-competitive, and Michigan can win this game 17-0.
I was just going to say that same score, and well, I mean, if that happened, would you be stunned? I sure wouldn't.
I wouldn't be happy because I'd lose my Michigan bet, but I wouldn't be stunned if that happened. No,
they have a way of making you look bad. They've only lost 2 games all year. I mean, with a team that scores 18 points a game, geez.
They had the highest, by the way, they had the most 3-and-outs in all Power 5 college football. Iowa showed that today on game day. 63 and outs in 12 games.
I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all.
That's incredible. And here we are playing for a championship.
Unbelievable. Chris, before we let you go back to work, the games today, right now, the SEC championship game is the one that's lighting up the screen here for me. You're down to 4.5.
Right.
Total's also getting hit as well, just moved to 54. I can't say I'm surprised that this is going to be the biggest betting game of the day.
Oh, no, it'll be the biggest betting. But let me give a couple pointers out there. I had one of my really sharp players come in, and I actually didn't move the number on either game because I needed the play. But he bet me Florida State -1.
Okay.
And like I said, this kid gets the moves pretty quick. But, man, I needed that bet. He bet me Boise -2.5. And I didn't go to 3. I don't have any 3s out there. I didn't want it because I have a lot of respect for this guy. Believe me, this guy, he's been drilling me the last couple of weeks. But I could kind of use some action on both those sides. So just going to give you a hint. This guy usually gets the moves pretty quick.
I don't like that one at all, Chris.
Well, I noticed that red shirt. I didn't expect you to give me the thumbs up on that one, young lady. But I'm only reporting the truth. Is all I can do.
You know, it's again UNLV, Boise. The field. I had that crew right to work on the field as soon as that trophy celebration was over.
Yeah, had to.
Last night. Right now, Rebels 2.5-point underdogs total. People are betting overs today, Chris. Final day, full day of the regular season with conference championship games, and people are just flying in betting the totals over.
Jeff, I take the money and I move the number. What else?
All I'm going to tell you is, where's Frank? He's got to get in on this action, right?
He's on the Grand Salami.
He's on the salami.
He bet $14, Jeff. He's all in, baby.
On the salami, you bet the salami over?
Over 407.5.
Oh, he's ahead right now.
Oh,
right?
no, it's only today's games.
Oh, it's only today's
That's
games.
the unfortunate thing.
Okay, I thought maybe the whole
today's
weekend.
games.
Oh, it's only today's games. Okay. He's then clean slate. Well, actually, he's ahead because of the way the numbers are moving.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So,
anyway, guys, I got to go back to work.
It sounds
You
good.
guys are doing great. Have a great show, but keep a couple of those pointers in mind. Could be some moves.
Sounds good to us. Chris
See you
Andrews,
later.
everyone. Vinny Magliulo is going to join us in about 10 minutes as well. Alex, let's go to your game in the meantime here. I don't know if that made you feel any better about the Rebs. Rebels, first time they're hosting a Mountain West title game at home, Legion Stadium, a few miles north. You'll be there. Our guy Ryan McCormick will be there. I'm sure Matt Neverd will be there as well. Well, actually, he will be because he's running the broadcast for radio today for the national broadcast.
He does a great job with that.
Sure
too.
does. UNLV, 2.5-point underdogs at home in the Mountain West title game. Boise State, amazingly, we've talked about this Boise State team all year. This is as bad of a season Boise State has had in a long time, but yet here they are in the Mountain West title game and favored on the road. And Alex, I'm going to see if we get back to 3 here. If we get back to 3, it's a take. If we don't get back to 3, and this will sound a little backwards, I'm just going to money line it. I'll just take the price. If this game lands Boise if this lands Boise 1 or 2, so be it. Whatever. I just wasn't meant to win this bet. But if we get back to 3, I'll take the 3 with UNLV. It's all going to come down to quarterback play for Boise State today. And last week, I talked about it earlier in the week on the show. I just thought that last week they weren't ready for the lights. And now that they've been in the lights, this is going to be a little less pressure, even though it's a championship game. And I think Jaden Mayava should be able to handle it a little bit better than he did early in the game last week, where he looked lost until that game got into the second half.
And really, it was the first game this season that he did look like that, right? He's done a fantastic job stepping in, being the starting quarterback. Couple key factors that need to happen in this game. They need to get up quick. They aren't doing well playing from behind. And you mentioned it last week might help because they realized that they were making their way back in that game, but they just ran out of time. The week before, they kind of got lucky against Air Force. They did the same thing. They didn't come out hot. They actually looked very slow against Air Force, and then they got lucky. They did come out on top against Air Force in that one. So I really think that's going to be the key here. Can UNLV get a jump start and get up on Boise early? I know Boise runs the football very well, so they also their defense needs to step up here and stop the run.
Again, it just for the Mountain West, just as a whole, Boise, again, you're not going to see a season like this for a while again from Boise. I would imagine they're going to nail the new coaching hire, whoever it may be. I was not a fan of Avalos the whole time he was there. Guy's a coordinator. Some guys are just meant to be coordinators, not head coaches. He's a defensive coordinator. He's not a head coach, and Boise realized the error and got rid of him mid-season here. I don't really feel great if I'm in that league and Boise's winning the league at 8-5 in a year where they're the worst they're probably going to be for the next decade. So for UNLV, you got to take advantage of your opportunities. This is it. Everyone in the studio who's from Vegas knows it. This is an opportunity that does not come around for UNLV's football program. You not only are in the game, you have the game at home. Take advantage of that opportunity to win a conference championship in football. Forget about in football for the Rebs today.
And mindset should be kind of like Washington, right? Well, we're the underdog. People are already counting us out. They don't think we can get it done. They need to prove themselves here. Talking about prop bets, which you did earlier, Ricky White He is a stud wide
Having a
receiver.
great year.
Yes, he is. He is 6th in the nation in receiving yards with 1,300. So if you want to look for a prop bet today on the Rebels, look for Ricky White.
Ricky White, I will warn you on this. It's a big number. It's a big number. The predominant number I'm seeing is 114.5, which is a gigantic number.
Right.
For
He's been over
prop.
100 in 6 of his last 7, but that's over 100. So you're adding another 14 yards there.
And look, and Ricky White's going to play. Ricky White's going to play in the NFL. I don't know how good of an NFL player he's going to be, but he's going to play on Sundays at some point in the near future. But UNLV, again, slight dog at home. Actually, some under money coming in at some spots right now, down to 60.5 at some spots, 61 still here at the South Point. All right, we're going to take a break. When we get back, our guy, Vincenzo, Vinny Magliulo, the best hair in the business, going to join us next here on Sports by the Book, Saturday at the South Point studio.
South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rockin' dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Sports by the Book is the show. If you're joining us on our YouTube page, welcome. If you're watching us at Dom's Pizzeria in Trafford, Pennsylvania, welcome. Across town as well, Oasis, Alex's friends over at Steiner's as well. If you're watching us right now, welcome. We're happy to be with you as always here on these Saturday mornings. Sunday morning tomorrow, the NFL will have as well, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern time. I guess that's 11 a.m. Central and 10 a.m. Mountain if you're watching us across the country on our YouTube page. See, I got them all, Vinny.
You did great. I have enough numbers in my head.
That's okay. That's okay. I don't know what time it is in Hawaii. I apologize right now for that. Even though if you're awake right now in Hawaii, that's a job well done.
Yeah.
Early in the morning there.
Oh, they're
Vincenzo,
awake. They're awake watching.
Vinny,
betting.
good to see you.
Yes.
Good to see you.
Good to be back, yeah.
Let's go back to last night real quick. Chris Andrews was just in, asking him about the adjustments after Washington's upset win over Oregon. Huskies are going to the college football playoff. It's going to be a spot in Pasadena. Yeah. More likely than not against Michigan. If chalk serves, it will be Michigan. If Georgia loses, then it may be someone else there in Pasadena. But Chris said 2 points minimum on the adjustment for Washington. How much will you likely adjust them over the next few days?
I think Chris is right on. 2.5. You know, would it be 3? Maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but 2.5, I think is right. And I think the biggest takeaway for me last night, and of course, again, we've been talking quite a bit about since the two teams met. in Washington earlier this year, and Washington came back and won that game by 3. They really kind of went in different different directions from a results standpoint. I mean, the results were all there. They won all their games, but certainly Oregon in much more convincing fashion. And I love this. So after the game last night, there were a lot of inquiries. How could you guys have made them a 10-point favorite? Well, okay, they took the 10 and went to 9.5. It closed 10. So it's not just about the result, because we're not in the prediction business, right? We're in the odds making and the bookmaking business. What's going to generate action and hopefully two-way action.
Right.
And so, but the biggest takeaway I thought was Oregon's defense could not stop Washington last night, and it kind of looked like, and another big credit I give to Washington was once Oregon took the lead, they could have wilted and folded, but they didn't. They rallied and wound up going back up by 10, and then of course Oregon with the quick score to cut it to 3. So credit both teams, terrific programs. What a game to send out though, the Pac-12. Right? I mean, Jeff, you were there, I think, right?
I was, yes.
Great energy in the building.
It was an incredible environment.
Yeah.
It was loud. It was incredibly loud. And look, it was a great game. I mean, it's all you could ask for.
Sure.
Again, Oregon showed great resilience to get back in that game, down 20-3, come back, take the lead. And then, you know what?
No question.
Big credit to Washington.
Absolutely.
And we were talking about Kalen DeBoer beforehand with Chris. By the way, were you booking those NAIA championship games when he was winning championships at Sioux Falls? You're doing that, Vinny?
Of course. Why wouldn't we? It was action. But go ahead.
But the one good thing, because we were up top, we were in the end zone, we were a little bit up top last night, and part of the reason that I like sitting up there is just to see how plays go out, almost that all 22 camera that everyone can watch when you're rewatching NFL college games online. And just the play design that Washington has, it confused Oregon's defense, for one.
Particularly with the two terrific receivers
receivers
right in the slot to get right next to each other, right?
100%. And Penix, other than the interception where he had a guy wide open and just missed him.
Yeah.
Penix just making every throw last night. And Chris mentioned this earlier too. Washington just pulverized Oregon's defense last night for the most part, which is shocking because Oregon's defense. If there was a difference with teams this year as opposed to the previous years when they've been a real competitor, it's that defense was great. Now, granted, Oregon's defense suffered a few key injuries in the middle of that game, but hey, 14 fourth quarter points for Washington to put that thing away. And credit to the Huskies. They deserve this Rose Bowl bid they're going to get.
Great point, Jeff, because I thought this was Oregon's best defense that I've seen in recent years, certainly in the playoff era, right, Alex? And that was something that we paid very close attention to in making the number.
Right. They've been very physical, and we kind of thought that's where they would have the edge. But I said if you rewatch and watch the highlights from that first game, they matched up very well in the trenches, and Washington even outmatched them yesterday. To your point, I mean, Pac-12, they travel so well. I did go to the Pac-12 championship last year with USC and Utah. Same thing, great environment, and you could just see on TV yesterday. It looked like so much fun there. But yeah, so credit to Pac-12. I'm sad that is the last one.
I can't. I mean, the way the teams are moving around to the various conferences. By the way, I think there was this. We've been talking this year too. What about Oregon State and Washington State, right? Where they're going to play a predominant, or at least half their schedule is going to be a Mountain West schedule. So again, I'm not saying there's going to be Power 5 conferences anymore. I mean, it's a Power 4 situation.
Yeah.
But I could see where, particularly geographically, the Mountain West is going to be upgraded for certain.
Yeah, well, and again, just starting next year, again, we've talked about it. This would have been such a good year for the 12-team playoff.
Oh, sure.
Because there's more teams that are capable of winning it all this year than there have been in probably, 20 years, basically, in college football? Since the year where Auburn with Ronnie Brown and company got left out of the BCS championship game, we're going We're going a long time ago at this point.
Well, you had the UCF situation, right?
Yeah,
a few years ago.
that UCF team would have got blasted by anyone any good.
I think they gave themselves a trophy. Or whatever they did.
They earned it. The self-proclaimed champions.
Yeah, but listen, I think it reminds you of college basketball now, where there's the parity that we've seen. I think people kind of get tired of what parity. Well, look, that's what you want too. That you want that balance, and looking at it, and that's why I think that the 12-team playoff is going to be absolutely phenomenal for business.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be huge. The 4-team playoff, when it came into play several years back, it really bumped the handle. I mean, the playoff college games get bet and booked like NFL playoff games, and they should. And so they get that kind of attention and that kind of action, and there's no reason to think that that's not going to be. But it's only going to increase next year with 12 teams for sure.
Vinny, let's go to some games today. Chris was singing your praises on SMU going into this week. Preston Stone out, though, fibula break, so he's out, backup quarterback.
We saw that happen last week.
For the Ponies. Down to 3, though. Tulane at home. A really good football game for the American Championship. If the Green Wave win as a field goal favorite at home, they will be going to a New Year's Six Bowl. They will go more likely than not to Atlanta, to the Peach Bowl, to take on one of those big-time Power 5 schools.
What I was talking about with Chris, for the last, probably about a month or month and a half, you start, because we're always in a bit of a look-ahead mode, and thinking about things. And, we mentioned the Mountain West for next year already, but you look at this SMU team, I pay attention to backing, right? Whether it, boosters, the NIL and things that are going on. Going to a higher profile conference, they're going to get a lot of booster, a tremendous amount of financial support. There's no question about it. They look at their location as well. From a recruiting aspect, right, they're going to be in a prime position. And I think there's still a bit of a chip on their shoulder from the death penalty, even though it was a generation ago, right? So I kind of put those things together and look at the results. They had a terrific. By the way, you look at Stone, right? And I know this game is in Tulane, but it really speaks to this. This number never would have been 6 if he was there. I mean, let's face it. I mean, so it was taken into account. So no, I think folks have to realize that too. Just like in the Florida State game, but at least Florida State was still the favorite. Stone's impact here, I think you could start at least 4 points on a neutral field. I mean, have a SMU rated higher anyway,
right,
on a neutral. But his injury's very significant. But again, we've seen teams absolutely rally this year. Georgia, of course, they're Georgia. Florida State, they got it done. They got it done last week. They did what they had to do. We'll see what happens today, and we'll get to that game, I'm sure. But this is a game that's down to 3. I was just at the counter while Chris was in, and chatting with Jimmy Vaccaro, and this game is down to 3. So there's still support for SMU here. I think by the time we get to 1:00 kickoff, Alex, if it dips below that, I'm sure there'll be a play on Tulane.
So are you thinking it would have been, what did you open at, about 3? Is it back to where it was?
It's at 3 now, but this game was at 6.
Right. This was the 3.5. Then we knew that Stone's injury was significant, more significant than we realized, and then it went to 6.
Yeah.
Alex, you mentioned it. The backup quarterback, the name has escaped me, has looked good in limited action so far this year.
Kevin Jennings?
Yes, for SMU. And as Chris said, the reports out of Dallas, I mean, they're just super, super high on this kid going into this game. With that said, now that we're back at 3, I'm going to lay it with Tulane. They have a great quarterback for that level in Pratt. Pratt is an excellent player.
Oh, excellent. Very
the
good.
game is in New Orleans, so you have home.
It's a home
field.
game.
You have a home field advantage.
Now they distribute the tickets, obviously, but let's face
but it's
it.
still going to be.
I mean,
it's still going to be.
There's going to be more. There's certainly going to be more.
90-10 Green Wave fans in that. And hey, look, for Tulane, they have already tasted the New Year's Six glory. They beat USC last year in the Cotton Bowl. You think they want to go back and prove that wasn't a fluke last year? Go to the Peach Bowl, draw. Heck, they could even draw Alabama in the Peach Bowl. That is not an impossibility at this point. So I just think at this point with the game, if this was a neutral, different take for me here. I probably don't play this thing, but since this is a pure home game, only laying a field goal, I'll lay the 3 with the weight.
There's no question. It's a big advantage for sure.
Well, let's go to the SEC title game.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good football game, right, Vinny? Pretty good. Alabama, Georgia, not bad.
They've not disappointed in the past.
Not
There's
bad.
no reason to think that they will today either, for sure.
High is 6, down to 4.5 on the Dogs right now. I was almost going to say at home, in their home state of Georgia. Granted, that we know that is the purest 50-50 split there is, the SEC title game, regardless of who's playing in it.
Alabama's no strangers, right, to the venue, for sure. Open 5.5. Initial money came in on Georgia, up to 6 by 5. Now down to 4.5. So a bit more Alabama money. Look, we've seen, and I think again we'll recap it quickly. Alabama's turnaround since the Texas loss, coupled with the quarterback flip-flop, they've righted things. They've done what Washington did, some close games, but they figured out ways to win games, right? Let's face it. So you look at that, but Georgia's also the healthiest they've been, right, Alex, in the last month. Getting Bowers back. McConkey is having a terrific year. He gets overshadowed. But let's remember this. When Bowers, in the beginning of the season, McConkey was not 100%. He was hurt. Then he came back. Bowers got hurt. They've been together now for the last 3 or 4 games. And what a combination to have. What a luxury, Alex.
Well, and Bowers sat out last week. I think that was just taking precaution to be ready for this game. So I think this will be fun because I think a lot of our followers watch us to learn a little bit. So I was talking to Jeff before the show, so I'll get both of your take on this. I have Alabama, nothing crazy, plus 275. So a little bit
on the money line.
On the money line. Yep. I took them early to win the SEC championship. So I was talking to Jeff because yesterday, that was my best future with Oregon. I was in a great spot. I could middle it. I jumped in, took the 10 with Washington. So I haven't done anything with my futures for today. I have a little bit on UNLV, but that was more as a fan, 18-1, not much, pizza money. So now we're here with Alabama, though.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think now that the line is moving down and I can get Georgia at minus 200 money line? Or what do you suggest here, Benny?
So you have Alabama plus 275?
Yes.
Well, I mean, you can obviously lay the 2-1 for, and you've got a 75-cent, benefit going, depending on what you have, what you have coming. I mean, a lot of times, Alex, we get this question a lot, and it's an excellent question, and it's a good point. You want to guarantee yourself. So you have the favorite now. So it's not like you can try to middle it. If it was the reverse, you could take the points, right?
Exactly. Oh, yes.
But I think it depends on what your investment is to the folks out there. I mean, if you've got a 4-digit return on Alabama, let's say, then it's kind of easy, But if you put up, let's say you put up 100 for every 100 or 1,000, to win 2750. Well, now you got 2750 in profit. Still, what do? You put up, you lay 2-1 for 2 dimes to win a dime back, and then you're basically just kind of pushing a little bit. So it really depends on what your investment is, or what you could do is because you have the dog already, right? Maybe you wait for an in-game opportunity and see if you want Alabama now to get ahead.
Yes.
And sometimes, and some of the in-game opportunities are not just point spreads, but they're money lines as well, as you know, and you follow that very closely. So because you have a plus on Alabama now, it might be best to just kind of look at the in-game, just to consider that.
At the numbers that were thrown out there,
Yeah.
I wouldn't hedge.
No.
Personally, I wouldn't hedge. I'd play it the way Vinny said, where
Okay.
Bama gets out 10-3, 7-0.
Yeah.
You're going to get Georgia pick, basically, the 7-0 game.
If you, here's what you would want. You would want a Georgia first half from a month ago.
Right.
I mean, look,
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, look, if Bama gets out 14-0,
Right.
you're going to be getting points.
Yes.
So you could. That's the better middle, and also too, like, I wouldn't wreck your profit. That would be the
You're going
biggest
to
thing.
be. It's kind of.
And now, granted, everyone, and this just comes down to also, and this is not just for you, this is for anyone out there to possibly think of an hedge today. It's all your risk tolerance at this point.
Well, that's it.
It's basically what do you want to make sure you win from this?
Yeah. What do you?
Are you okay? Like if you're in your situation, and Vinny, you can attest to this. If you're okay with a 75-cent profit, then lock it in right now.
Correct.
Lock it in right now. If you're good with that 75-cent profit potentially, if Alabama wins, just lock it in right now.
Well, the thing is, again, it depends on what's your investment and then what's the return.
Exactly.
Because don't forget, you've got to, when you're calculating both, Alex, and you know this, and this is what your dad and grandfather have taught you as well. If you have 1,000 in on one side, and you're going to put up maybe $2,000. Well, you have a $3,000 investment, so it's the combined investment, it's the overall investment to it. So, again, getting back to it, it's probably best to look at the in game. And the other part is, I feel very confident in saying that's not your only bet in today. So I'm sure. Right? Yeah. So, and I know you'll follow what's happening with the in-game and perhaps halftime even. So good points.
Now looking at the matchup, so Bama's defense has been much better. Do you think they can slow down Carson Beck and company and hang in there?
I think Georgia wins this game. I'm not confident in laying points at all in this game. This feels like a field goal game, but I missed the best of it on the Alabama side. I could have had 6 earlier this week.
Yeah,
which if you got 6 with the Tide, well done. Great number. Mm-hmm. If you lose, so be it. But I'm not going to chase a bad number on Alabama. I think it's a field goal game, though, Alex.
And let's remember, because we talked about it, these numbers went up last weekend. We didn't wait till Monday, right? We had a weekend crowd here. And when Chris put them up, but that was professional money, too, driving a lot of that. So paying attention to it. And then, they let now. Do some of those folks do what Alex did? Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, let's face it. If it, do they try to hedge a little bit, or depend again? What is your overall investment? But again, you also have other opportunities with this game and other games.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure.
I'm excited to see what we do get from Milroe today too in this spot because
he's going to play well.
Yeah,
I think he's going to play well.
Big stage, no question.
The remaining games on the slate here.
By the way, we just went to Troy.
A few moves also.
Troy just went to 6 here at South Point.
Well, there's some other moves also. Toledo just went to 6.
And yes.
And Texas is 15 flat. There's a lot of 14.5 in the market now on Texas.
Toledo, we just went now as we speak to 6.5.
Okay,
right?
so matching the market.
I'm sorry, what was the other one?
Texas 15.
Texas 15 here at South Point. And the total creeping back up now, 57.5.
You mentioned it, Troy at 6. We talked about this yesterday. Mm-hmm. Alex and I did not have much of anything on this game. I think Troy's better. The game is at home for them.
Yes.
But Appalachian State did go on the road and beat James Madison 3 weeks ago. So
yeah, great game.
Pretty good team in Appalachian State yet again. All right, Vinny, let's go to Florida State and Louisville. We don't know who's playing quarterback yet. Rodemaker did have a concussion. That was confirmed earlier today. Still in protocol as of this moment. Game time decision to see if he's out of it by then. It would be Brock Glenn, who as Chris Felica told Chris Andrews yesterday, if Glenn didn't suffer a finger injury in preseason, he very easily would have been the backup to Jordan Travis, not Rodemaker going in. It's all the way down to 1. Florida State favored by a point, 46 the total. Of course, there's been one-way traffic on Louisville all week.
Listen, we talked about it too. This is a game where the injury is obviously, more of a factor, right? We talked about, okay, last week was probably about 4. This is definitely a 6-point difference here when you look at it and the way it's bet. Look, the thing about it is, Rodemaker's he's not going to be 100% if he does play. If he's in concussion protocol, what's going to change between now and kickoff at 5 o'clock this evening, right? It's going to heal that much quicker? I don't think so. The error on the side of caution, and I think that's what bettors are looking at. This game will probably continue to dip. And again, we went to 1 this morning and 46. So, it's up to what's going to happen here is it's up to the basically the running game, I think, and the running game of Florida State and their defense, because we know that Louisville, they like to get up and down the field. So I think, their basketball team wishes they could get up and down the court like the way this football team does. And so I think that's certainly the challenge there. So can Glenn get the job done? Remember he came in last week, and again, you don't have a lot of time. There's a difference, right? When you're thrust into it, you can do one of two things. You can freeze up a bit, Alex, and you've seen so many games. Jeff, you've watched games. Or you get in there and you don't have time to really worry about it. Now you have that all week to say, hey, man, there's a good chance I'm going to be in this game, in the biggest game of the year. Oh, and by the way, a game that we need to get into the national playoff.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
For the committee's sake, we talked about it yesterday. If Louisville wins, they have a big headache they get to avoid, because in that scenario, then, all right, Texas handles their business today as a big favorite against Oklahoma State.
Right.
You take the SEC champion. As long as Michigan doesn't blow it as a big favorite against Iowa, you have a pretty easy 4 right there.
Well, you do, and you may and you may not, because Texas, let's say they have 1 loss, and if Alabama beats Georgia, both of them have 1 loss as well. So now you have 3 teams.
Yeah, well,
or 4 teams with Florida State with 1 loss.
Yeah, well, in that scenario, Florida
right?
State's cooked.
Probably because
they're
and I
cooked.
think which they shouldn't. They're going to take into consideration the Travis injury, right?
Yeah. I mean, Florida State would be done
from a doubt standpoint instead of realizing
for Georgia. I know it. Look, I think Georgia's the best team in the country at the moment. But if they lose today, they need a lot of help to get in.
Sure.
They need a lot of things today to happen for them in order to get in. Their path is just handle your business, beat Alabama, get the 1 seed, take on either Texas and Florida State in the Sugar Bowl and
those
New Year's
teams
Day.
that you mentioned are part of the coaches. Listen, let's take it out of the committee's hands. That's exactly what part of the pregame speech is.
Before we go, Michigan 22.
Yep.
35.5 with Iowa.
Your favorite total. Every week, Jeffrey. I understand.
But this is a high Iowa total at 35.5.
Well, it's a high total because of Michigan.
Yes. I said it yesterday. I'm already on Michigan. This just feels like that Michigan, with everything that has happened around them, and they beat Ohio State for the 3rd straight year.
Harbaugh's back today.
Harbaugh's back. They 2 years ago, they destroyed Iowa in a similar spot in the Big Ten title game where I think that Iowa team was better than this Iowa team, even though they won more games this year. Unless if Iowa shocks me, in order to cover this number today, Vinny, I think Iowa needs to score 10.
I was going to say 14.
14. All right. If they score 14, I'm done. But the over is going to get there with ease if Iowa gets 14.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean at that point.
It's been a now believe it or not, Iowa's gotten
it's a huge number.
The point spread 24 or down to 22. That said, there's still going to be support in various other betting opportunities, Alex, with the money lines and teasers on Michigan.
Took me a long time this week, but I finally jumped in on Michigan. Stopped overthinking it. Now, definitely one of the top 2 teams, right, in the country with Oregon going down. So playing Iowa with Deacon Hill, and they've just struggled offensively so much, I think Michigan can definitely cover this
even
number.
with Iowa obviously trying to control tempo,
yes.
You know what? Michigan's defense is good too.
Yes, they are.
And they have the opportunity to control tempo much more because they've got a good offense and defense.
It'll be a fun day. And
Yes.
there's also 8 bajillion college basketball games as well today.
Enjoy those. And
Yes. Conference play in December, I can't wrap my brain around it still.
neither
because,
can Purdue.
Well,
We saw that yesterday.
Northwestern has their number for whatever
Yeah,
reason. They beat them last year. They beat them again yesterday in Evanston.
There are teams that get in other teams' heads.
Yeah.
Right? Let's face it.
And who doesn't love Boo Booey? I mean, Boo Boo, well, what a player Boo Booey is for Northwestern. That was one where the market got that game 100% right.
They did.
The overnights had it at 8.
They did.
Got bet all the way down to 5.5, and Northwestern won the game outright.
They won the game outright in overtime. So.
And market got the Kansas game right, too. Kansas covers all numbers as a 4-point favorite.
Against Connecticut.
Yes,
so
in a really good game.
Good game. Really
last
good
night.
Game.
Hey, you know what? This show.
Jeff was on both of those too.
Good.
Yeah, and then I lost all the ones
Outstanding.
with the minor teams in it, but that's okay. We're not going to.
So you went 2-1?
Yesterday I had 6. Thankfully, my 3 bigger plays won, and the 3 smaller plays lost.
Okay.
So I ended up
there
ahead.
you go. You're fine.
But I will say this, because the show next week we have Army Navy, which by the way you already have a number up for that, and the total's 28. So we get to have a lot of fun with that.
A higher total in Michigan.
Hey, they went over last year.
That's right.
It took overtime, but they went over
That's
finally
right.
in the Army Navy game. Also, Army Navy games in Foxborough this year, which is
I
didn't know was even in the rotation.
But
Regardless,
gotta be in Philadelphia.
Next week, with college football coming to a close here, of course, we'll have bowl games throughout the month of December and into January, but there will be a lot of college hoops on this show.
Sure.
Because these Saturdays, especially starting the first week of January, when, again, there's about 370 teams in college basketball and roughly 300 of them play on Saturday, we'll have a lot of games to get on these Saturday shows.
Be fun.
Vinny, pleasure as always.
Good job, both of you.
Alex,
Drew, thank you.
Good work.
Excellent.
As always, Jerry and Sean behind the glass. Good job. I'm Jeff Parles. Alex, good luck today on all your plays, and good luck as a fan.
Thank you.
Today at Allegiant Stadium as well, 3 hours from now in the Mountain West title game. I'm Jeff Parles. We'll see you again tomorrow in 24 hours from now. That's 9 o'clock Pacific, noon Eastern, previewing Week 13 in the NFL on Sports by the Book.